Well, hi guys. Coach Jerry here at The Protocol, and welcome to the August Mobility Warmup. We have a really good one for you this month. We're going to be incorporating some yoga flows into our warm-ups. For about the last, I think it's been almost a year now, I have been reconnecting to my yoga practice. So it's something that I have been doing for a very long time. Actually, fun fact, I've been doing yoga longer than I've been doing kettlebells. So this is something that has been a big part of my life. I stopped doing it for a number of years, just more or less had to do with a busy schedule. And so it's been almost a year now that I've been back at it, and I've really enjoyed what it's done for my body. So a lot of this month's warm-up is heavily inspired by my yoga practice. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do before we get into our flows is a little bit of prep work for the shoulders and the wrists. One of the things I like to do before I start my yoga practice is I like to pre-stretch a few things in my body. I know I'm going to be spending a lot of time on my hands for that hour-long yoga class. So the first thing that I like to do is take 4 fingers over 4 fingers and just give myself that nice wrist stretch. You can also do this on a yoga mat with your hands on the ground, but either way works. I'm just showing it to you standing here. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I just like to get those done first. That little pre-stretch seems to help. And then I also like to get my shoulders prepped as well. We're going to do something that we do actually very frequently in here. And there's a lot of good reasons that we do this, but we're going to do another grok hang. Now, we've done these in warm-ups in the past, but just a quick review. There's 2 types of grok hangs. You have active, where your shoulders stay packed, and you're basically as far away from your ears as possible, so everything is drawn in. The second type of grok hang is more passive. This is for traction. Not everyone's shoulders are healthy enough to do this, so please be careful. We have a pretty wide range of time for this one. We recommend anywhere from 15 to 120 seconds. If you cannot do 15, you should totally work on it. And if you're pretty good at the grok hang, I would highly encourage you to work up to being able to hold for the full 2 minutes. There's a lot of benefits that are way too vast for me to go into in this video. But before we get started, we're going to get that grok hang done. Now let's go ahead and get into our yoga flows. For the first part of this video, I'm going to demonstrate the individual poses that we're going to be working on, and then for the second part of this video, you will just see a flow of me doing all of them put together, which is exactly how they should look when you're doing them in your warm-ups. So the first thing we're going to do is come to a quadruped position. That's a fancy way of saying hands and knees. I'm going to plant my hands here. I want my knees directly under my hips and my hands directly under my shoulders. In cat, I'm going to exhale as I tuck my chin in and round my back. When I inhale, I'm going to try and lift my head and lift my sit bones and come into cow. We'll be doing 10 cat-cows in this flow. After the cat and cows, we're going to go right into downward facing dog. So we're going to plant the hands, turn our toes back, push our butt up and back, and I'm just going to adjust my hands here a little bit and come into downward facing dog. When you do your first downward facing dog, you can stretch a little bit here. You can paddle your feet, so you bend one knee while pushing the opposite heel to the floor. You get a nice little calf stretch when you do that. So from downward facing dog, you're going to inhale and work your hips to the ground and look up. Upward facing dog. In upward facing dog, the only thing that's touching the ground are my hands and my toes. Exhale as you go from down dog. Inhale into up dog. This is very much a hinge-like movement, similar to the kettlebell swing. And most people will find it a lot easier if you imagine that your hips are the engine that's driving the movement. In other words, you shouldn't be overloading it in your shoulders and hands. Downward facing dog is also going to be for 10 repetitions. From down dog, we're going to go right into the world's greatest stretch. The world's greatest stretch is done from the top of a push-up position. So, or in this case, we'll be coming out of our downward facing dog. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring one leg straight up, bring it to the outside of our hands. And I probably should have shown the other side first, but what I'm going to do is the same hand that's next to my front foot. So if it's my left foot that's forward, I'm going to take my left hand and I want to open it up to the sky and back. Nice thoracic spine rotation. And then if you're able to, we're going to take that forearm and attempt to place that forearm down onto the ground. And we will do that for 5 repetitions. When you finish with your 5, replace the hand, push back, downward facing dog, and then we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So that's the world's greatest stretch, 5 per side. Once we finish with that, we're going to get into thread the needle. And we're going to combine the thread the needle with a walk back into a nice deep squat. So I'm going to show a couple of options for this. We have some folks in here that maybe don't have as good of a deep squat as others, but let's go ahead and just demo here. So we just got done with our world's greatest stretch, right? So now we're back into downward facing dog, and we're going to return to hands and knees. Thread the needle is taking one hand from the quadruped position, reaching it up, and then placing that hand through the leg and the arm, setting that shoulder on the ground, and gently for a moment resting the head on the mat. When we come out of that, we're going to replace the hand and walk back into a deep squat. Walk back forward, and now we're going to thread the needle on the other hand. This does not need to be done fast. You'll notice I'm moving consistently through the exercise. I'm not holding a static stretch, but I am trying to move under a lot of control. And I am enjoying a slight pause down here at the bottom for the thread the needle. So we're doing 5 thread the needles per side, alternating sides. So once you have all those individual moves down, now it's time to put them together into one big flow. We're actually going to be doing this flow in our warm-up 2 times. So you can take a short rest in child's pose in between rounds. What I'd like to do next is I'd like to actually demonstrate to you what this entire warm-up looks like as a finished product. So I'm going to turn off my microphone here, and we'll go to this next segment where you'll just see what it looks like as a flow. I suppose you noticed that I didn't do all the repetitions. I do want to keep this video short, so I thought just a few reps of each would be helpful just for you guys to see how that flow works. I know this is not the sexiest thing that we do in here. You know, we love to post videos of us lifting heavy objects and whatnot, but the reality is that this type of fluid mobility and control of your own body, this is the stuff that keeps us young. And I would highly encourage all of you to have work like this in your practice on your non-training days. Maybe it's just a quick 5-minute mobility, 5 or 10-minute mobility sequence that you work on every day. But having some degree of this in your life pays huge dividends. There's some ladies and gentlemen in the yoga class that I take that are significantly older than I am, and they move with incredible fluidity. And it's one of those things, like when I watch them, I'm just like, yeah, that's what I want to be able to do. So I hope you guys enjoy the August warm-up, and we'll catch you guys again soon. Thanks for watching.